Hi, hi. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah. Yeah. You. The one right there who's listening, I'm talking to you. So pay close attention, okay? Today's video is a re-upload from my Twitch stream just the other day. We basically were listening to a very, very, very juicy podcast in which I added to the conversation in some way. It was about sex, relationships, and dating apps, the state of the youth today, and couples, I guess. It was definitely very interesting. And so I thought, let's re upload it so everyone can enjoy. Get your fucking popcorn. Get your popcorn. Your popcorn. Get your popcorn and make sure you enjoy.
Question you have that you wouldn't ever say out loud.
Give me a few.
How can I be satisfied with just one sexual partner? I have my partner. Should I tell them? I no longer find my partner attractive, but I don't know how to tell her.
We have a lot to
Damn.
talk about. Are you going to record me to him?
Okay.
All right. Here's what I would suggest.
Esther Perel is regarded as one of the most sought-after relationship therapists in the world.
For the past 40 years, she's been helping millions of people with her brutally honest and wildly relatable insights.
People are having less sex?
Why? Is the sex getting less interesting?
No, their life with each other is less interesting. And what
Times to get
Dude, I
one
don't like this.
from the bridge more
listen to the show regularly.
It's like kind of epic, the fact that he's doing such an epic montage of the podcast. It's kind of cool, but I don't want to listen to everything before actually like watching it. By the way, I'm just gonna give the prompts to the Diary of a CEO.
Esther, with all that you know, and with all that you study, and with all that you research and write about and think about, what is it that concerns you most? What is front of mind for you when you think about mating and dating and human connection?
What concerns me most, I think, is the fact that there is a unique moment in history at this moment where we are redesigning our communication, our ways of connecting, our ways of answering the big questions. But specifically in the realm of relationships, it's social atrophy. I think
Social atrophy is the gradual decline of social skills, confidence, and connection, often caused by a lack of real-world interaction. I mean, everyone just like playing video games and being on social media all day at home. It can lead to anxiety, trouble maintaining relationships, and a sense of disconnection. I kind of get this. It kind of goes with a double-edged sword of like the internet and how like sometimes people feel more connected because they'll be able to talk across the world with friends and family, but also the fact that we spend more time at home isolated. To be honest, if I could, I would just fully disconnect from the internet. I feel like we'd spend more time together as a community. But it is what it is. I'm trying to live off this, so why would I?
think we are losing social skills.
And the word atrophy, for anyone that doesn't know, is
Atrophy is when you don't use muscles, they go numb. Social atrophy is when you no longer know how to speak to people.
And what is the cost of that? If we do lose that social ability to connect and to have happenstance, what price do we pay? Why does life get harder and how does it get harder?
Because we are social creatures. We are wired for connection. If we live longer because we are connected. We don't live longer because we are master biohackers.
Major studies show that strong social relationships significantly increase life expectancy. Dude, it's true. I remember reading how men who have a wife have a longer life expectancy, and men who have a wife and children even more. I'm not sure how it goes for women, but that is true. And to be honest, I know there's people that maybe don't want to get married or don't want to have children in general, but I feel like it's really nice. I have nothing to add to that. Major studies show that strong social relationships significantly increase life expectancy and can reduce the risk of early death by up to 50%. In the world's longest living communities, deep and regular connection to friends, family, and community is a common thread. I mean, it seems normal.
We need those connections. They are just literally vital to us. So it's not that we have replaced this, and our skills are still honed in. We don't. We have less and less opportunities to practice. If you do sports and you don't practice your sport, you wouldn't be asking me what is the price. You would know that if you don't play and it's been years of not playing, then that thing is out of your life, done. But you can do other things, whereas you can't live without connection.
So many people are really dissatisfied with the choices they have for connection. Now, I'm sure we're all to blame, but when I scroll through my feed on social media, one of the things I've seen lately, I saw it just before you arrived and also a couple of days ago, was people so angry at dating apps.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got friends close to me who are furious.
This is the juicy part, because I know quite a few friends who have started a long-lasting relationship from dating apps, like 2 years plus. So it's gonna be interesting to see how what the real data is, because obviously the experience for individuals is greatly varied. Obviously, if you're in the top 10% of beauty, you're gonna have like a really nice experience on them. If not, I know it can be a struggle, and also you can meet like really weird people, to be honest.
It's that their only apparent option to meet someone these days
That's not
appears to
true.
be.
Go outside, go walk your dog, go run, go with a bike group, go do life, and you will meet people. I mean, you create.
It's kind of funny because she says like go run. I feel like running clubs are like such a social place where a lot of people look to find like partners, connections. I don't want to call it like a dating club, but it kind of feels like that sometimes.
Situations. It's not, where are the available situations? Where are the options for meeting people? You create options. You're at a coffee shop, you're ordering a coffee, ask the person next to you if you can offer them one. Do something that actually invites relatedness. And I know the anger at the app. I get that, I'm actually quite connected to this whole world of dating apps. But I think that it's a tool. Use it, but don't make it become the replacement for the multitudes of situations. Yesterday, I sat on a plane. I spoke for 3 hours with 2 people just because there was no Wi-Fi. It was just an amazing conversation. And all of us, at the moment we landed, said to each other, wow, if we had Wi-Fi, we wouldn't have talked to each other one bit.
See? I feel like it is that. It's like a double-edged sword. Without it, there's no other option. Like I remember, like like when you see movies, there's always like older movies on the trains. Everyone's like reading the newspaper. A lot of people talk. Like people knew each other in neighborhoods. They would talk. They would interact. I feel like everything is like becoming insanely isolated. Like it's curious because we're becoming like more globalized and connected in the way that we share information and news and media, and now more than ever people speak the same language. A lot of people speak English, but at the same time people don't usually go out of their circle.
Or 5 minutes and then be done with this. It's all these situations that we don't take advantage of. We used to always talk to people. And I think if you just rely on the app, you will go through a loop. You'll go on it. You'll swipe. You'll respond with the least amount of effort possible because you've so burned out already from doing this. that you don't really want to give much of yourself. If you don't give much of yourself, you're not going to get the kind of responses that you want. Then you're going to get frustrated because you don't get matched with anybody, but you don't look at your own laziness that is not particularly invited for someone to actually want to match with you. And then you say, now I'm tired of this. So now you get off the app for 6 months. You take a break. You say, I'm done with the apps. And then 6 months later, you say, I don't want to meet someone. And what do? You go back on the app instead of thinking of the multitudes of situations where you can actually meet people.
That has happened to me. You know, like you go in and you're like, oh, I'm tired of this. You spend a few months off. Ooh, I feel like meeting people. Let me download the app.
And it's become so weird to talk to somebody. You know, you can sit next to someone and, at the counter, and it's like you're a weirdo if you start talking to me. Instead of, you know, why not?
Because even in the situation of your plane ride, if there had been Wi-Fi, those people wouldn't have wanted to talk to you. So really, regardless of your attempt, you would have been met with, you know, rejection to some degree, social rejection. Like
maybe, but you know, the original app, if you really want to understand the gamification of that, it was really done as a way to not have to put yourself out and have to deal with rejection. But rejection is a major feature of relationships. Learning to live with people who say no to us is essential.
Have you heard?
Damn. I'd never thought about it. But it's true. The apps are trying to get away from the uncomfortable moments of rejection. Obviously, to try and make the process of finding someone faster as well and find alignment. But it's true. It's trying to get rid of rejection. Which I do feel like people are really sensitive with things now. I mean, myself included. I feel like a lot of people are struggling with managing rejection. But also, I struggle with like having to I don't know. Like, how do you tell someone that you're not like that into them without hurting them? It's impossible in some way. And it makes it really hard. I think as people, we're probably really sensitive. And I think that's the app tries to like avoid that rejection. But I think in some way we need it. You can't just like avoid it. At some point it's going to come out, I guess. I don't know. Maybe? No, I don't know.
I heard this story of the guy who tracked his Tinder swipes. And the story is that he swiped 2 million times to get one date. And you can kind of see, this is him here. This is the image of the swipe. So it says, this guy swiped 2,058,000 times. He got 2,000.
This guy has no hobbies. 2 million times. How many years is that? Left swipe, right swipes. Oh my god. He's swiping yes on everyone. This guy has like no criteria. He's like, if it breathes, right. Matches. Oh shit. You know when you like you learn about like the famous stories of like millionaires, and they're like, J.K. Rowling presented her book 50 times before it got approved for printing, or I don't know. The guy from Walmart was like, I don't know, failed for 5 years until he got it. I don't know, I'm making it up, but whatever. It's this guy. 2 million right swipes. And he got 2,000 matches. Let's go. Never give up.
Matches from that, which turned into 1,200.
No. You've got to be. No. This is sad. Who is this guy? We need to see a photo of this guy. What does he look like?
Chats, which turned into one date. Such a system is failing a huge percentage of people. This is the chap.
On what app?
on Tinder, I believe it was. This is here he is.
Hayden, dude, young Hayden. I mean, he looks like a normal guy, dude. I mean, this is a bit of a the fucking fish, the fish, dude. Oh, dude, he's a catch. The fish, not the guy. I'm joking. Dude, he looks fine. What the fuck? I was expecting like, I don't know, like a 50-year-old, not good looking guy. I mean, he's not the sexiest ever, but like still, he's dateable.
So I'll put him on the screen so everyone can see, and you can kind of see the photos that he led with on his dating profile. He probably shouldn't be holding a massive fish. I'm not
And
sure
he
why
looks
they're into that,
like a good
Oh,
guy.
he's got the fish picture. Yes, yes.
for people like him, what's the honest advice that someone like him needs? Because clearly dating apps aren't going to work for him,
Advice.
which is a lot of us. From what I
Well,
read.
how many hours? He should also have put on the amount of hours that
Oh
he
yeah, it
spent.
does have that. So it
He has the
analytics.
hours too?
So it has the amount of time he's been a member of the apps.
Right.
Just over 5 years, almost 6 years.
Yes. I mean, the first thing, if you sat in my office,
The ROI, the return on investment on that is so bad. He should give that up. Like, dude, if you're spending 5 years for one date, the return on investment, the amount of time you're putting in is not worth it. What?
and you told me this,
Unless that date was the best date ever. No, but it can't have been, because there would have been a second. What?
I would not spend my time discussing what you're doing on the app. I would discuss what you're doing off the app, and if you ever are even off the app. I mean, have you, the amount of hours of swiping that you've done, obviously this is not yielding anything. Why are you continuing? 5 years is an enormous amount of time in your life. I feel sad for you. You know, have you tried any other ways? Have you been with your friends? Do you have friends? Have your friends introduced you to people? Have you gone to places where you are more likely to meet people? I don't know what you're interested in, but if you fishing is one of those things, you know, maybe even at the fish market you could meet. But I mean,
At the fish market. Imagine. Oh, you like eating fish too? Damn. Maybe I could fish you up. You got it. Date secured.
more of it isn't going to give you more of it. It's just going to make you more frustrated.
So if you were sat down with him,
There's a rigidity to this. It's like, what are you trying to prove? You know, try something else. If you're trying to park in a space that you can't get in, at some point, don't you go look for another space?
is there an element of this
True, he has to change the strat. He has to change something.
where, from what I heard from dating apps, there's only a small percentage of men that could basically get all the opportunity. I'll put the numbers on.
Data shows that 80% of women on dating apps tend to swipe on just 20% of men, creating a concentrated pool of attention. Women often face overwhelming choice and, as a result, become more selective, while many men experience perpetual rejection. I mean, Hayden is is in this part of the phrase. True. I mean, it is kind of sad, to be honest, and it's also difficult because I feel like, although apps trying to make it easier, these results show otherwise. It just shows otherwise. Unless you're in the 20% of men, and I think in the women it would be the same. Well, maybe not. Maybe like 40% for women. I'm just creating an estimate, but like 20% of men or 40% of women in the top, then you're going to be okay. But it's also you're purely swiping on visuals most of the time, which I'm not sure how that works. Well, I guess it depends on the prompts.
The screen, but
Yeah, I know the whole.
yeah,
Yes.
and a large proportion of women get lots of opportunity because lots of men swipe for.
But opportunity for what? To be swiped? Does that mean and then what? The main thing is, can we have a conversation about emotional capitalism? You know, I go, I try, I try to get the best. I try to shop. You know, I try to maximize my chances. But fundamentally, the app originally was broadening your circle. it gave you the opportunity to meet people that you would otherwise not meet. There was something very beautiful about that. From that, it became a commodification. People treat each other like shit. People ghost each other left and right. People tell each other things and then disappear. People don't have to say, I'm not interested in seeing you again. They just close the shop. And the misery is not because they haven't met someone. The misery is the treatment that this kind of semi-anonymity enables you. You don't have to be polite anymore.
That is so true. Like, so many ghosting, so many, like, I don't know. Like, mostly, you don't even say, like, you don't even, like, end things nicely ever. It's just ghosting, and it's like you don't owe the other person anything, which basically makes people treat each other kind of shit, which is kind of sad also. And it happens a lot with, like, in general, with, like, social media and, like, the online bullying that occurs. A lot of people wouldn't say shit to your face, and they'd be a lot nicer. But because they're anonymous and they're not in front of you, they just do whatever they want. Which I think it gives a lot of confidence to a lot of people, but it's also having this effect.
You don't have to treat people with minimum decency. And that's what hurts people. That makes people bitter, angry, doubting themselves. A lot of things like that.
It's part of the challenge that I have so many apparent options now as someone on these dating apps. It's kind of like going to when you go to like Asia or Thailand and you get the menu, and that menu is so big, they'll like make anything you want. So you find it hard to choose. And also any choice you make, you realize that it's come at the cost of so many other things you could have had. So it's less special, it's less scarce. And in a world of Instagram and dating apps, it appears that I have 100,000 options.
Yes, it appears that you have many options, and it appears that you have a paradox of choice, and it appears that you constantly are dealing with the FOMO of what else is around the corner. But the interesting thing is, when I work with people, I spend a lot of time reading what they actually post. Even a peacock is more creative than us, you know, in how they attract people, in what you say, in what... But hey, what's up? Wanna hang?
Just swiping and expecting the other person to do all the work for you. It's true. Conversations can be so boring, dude. Or like people, like you try and put effort in, and sometimes people just can't, like, leave you in red, and it's like, fuck, what am I even trying? But it's also true, and there's so much option, and there's so many people available. You just kind of like lose the quality in each interaction, and that's what I think about. Some people like polygamy, or like, is that what it's called? Yeah, polygamy, or like just having open relationships. That's what I mean. And I don't feel like it works, because say you have your like energy, this is like your life energy, and if you're trying to do like 3 things at once, imagine you're trying to wash the dishes, I don't know, and create an Instagram post while you're talking to your mom all at once. Everything's just gonna come off kind of weird. It's not gonna fully work, and maybe you can manage 2 things at once. And it's the same with people. You have your attention, you have your energy, and if you're distributing it to, like, if you have like multiple people you're talking to or like having sexual interactions with, it dilutes the energy and the quality of each interaction. And you're gonna start mixing things up. You're gonna like not give them as much of attention. You're gonna be able to be there always. And it's not like you have to be there always, but just the quality and the depth of each interaction is just gonna be fizzled down, because you're basically sending it through different streams of people. So I think in these cases, when people want like open relationships, it's a lot about like consuming variety or newness, or maybe not wanting to commit, which is obviously fine. But you for quantity, you often sacrifice quality. That's the only thing I would say about open relationships. That's why I'm always like a lot happier with like just one person, because it means I can do things right and I can give that person my all. Plus, I don't have time to, like, I barely have time for someone else, because I'm spending so much time working on myself. Like, how can I be with 3 people at once? That's crazy. Like, you're basically avoiding spending time with yourself.
Is that giving you any energy in your body?
No.
Okay, I mean, this is half the messages. Up, I'm watching, I'm chilling. Okay, well, keep chilling.
What are you
It's
up to?
like,
Chilling?
where is the energy? Where, there's something about called flirting, attracting someone, showing an interest, etc., etc.
What's a better thing for us to say?
Oh man, show interest. I saw something in your picture. I'm wondering, if we went to listen to music, what's the first band we would go to listen to? Something that says you are a person with
Take
a life,
note,
with
take
interest,
note.
with curiosity. Show curiosity. It's probably the first thing that you do when you are drawn to somebody.
I guess if I've been rejected so much, as you said, I've been kind of demoralized. The energy's been taken out of me. So now it's just become this sort of cycle of just
Well, then
nothing.
don't do it. Then do something else for a while. Don't stay in that pattern.
That's so true. I always feel like if you're gonna do it, whatever it is, you might as well do it right or not do it. There's no point in doing something half done. Like, you're not really gonna, I don't know, enjoy it that much. What's the point of doing something with like half your energy? The outcome's not gonna be great, and you're just gonna be like, meh. So, yeah, put effort into your fucking prompts and into replying to people. I imagine someone writing an essay.
It's really depleting. But the thing about the choice is that we also are living surrounded by algorithmic perfections and predictive technologies that are trying to deliver us always, on demand, delivery of our everyday light, always on, without any friction. And that is creating warped expectations that we bring to our relationships. That very same expectation for perfection and for sycophantic responses, So the more we are interacting with AI.
True, this is so true. Like, based on my own experience, I feel like there's either two ways you go about it. One, you create like a really nice kind of like choosing the perfect moments, the perfect photos, choosing like, you're basically trying to sell yourself. So obviously you're gonna make yourself look perfect. And then in that case, people will probably swipe on you. And then it's very likely that you find out that that person's not actually perfect, which creates unrealistic expectations. And in the case that you want to start otherwise, without choosing perfection, you're probably not going to get that many swipes unless you're lucky, which kind of makes it difficult.
And the more we are receiving a different kind of response, the more challenging it will be for us to actually deal with real people and to face what you call rejection. Not every refusal is a rejection. I mean, this guy didn't write how many times he wasn't interested. He only tells you what's happening to him. He gives you the victim story. It's a statement of, this thing doesn't work for me, and men don't get answered on the app, and you get this whole plight, but there's no context. I can't give you and I don't think anybody should actually respond to this without knowing all these other details.
Is there an issue, when you mentioned men there, is there an issue that gender roles have shifted? And when we think about the plight of men, they are, I think the single biggest killer of men over the age of 45 is themselves, and the gender roles have shifted so much that often men have less purpose, feelings of purpose and worth now than they used to have. Women and men have gotten closer to a point of financial equality. They've gotten closer than the past, which now kind of also means that the role of a man, if we think historically, is less clear than the role of a man maybe 50, 100 years ago.
To understand masculinity, you have to understand the broader spectrum of relationships. So relationships used to be about duty and obligation, loyalty and community. And happiness came not from what you do for yourself, but happiness came from having fulfilled your role and your mission and your obligation to the people that you owe to, your family primarily. That model is still the prevailing model in most parts of the world. We shifted that model from duty and obligation to option and choice. And so now we have zero clarity and a lot of freedom. And we've never been more free, but we've never been more alone. and more confused and more filled with self-doubt.
How long have you been working with?
Damn. It's true. I also feel like we're seeing a little bit of a trend in which people are going back to the older traditions. In some ways, not everyone, not everyone.
Men and women in a relationship, love, connection
40
capacity.
years.
40 years.
Yes.
So what have you seen change in the conversation around men and masculinity? Like, what are the different problems that men are talking about when they speak to you that they weren't speaking about when you started your career?
I mean, you can start with the subject of loneliness. Loneliness, which is a general societal issue at this point, is definitely a major affliction, even more so for boys and men. Okay, loneliness was not the story of men in the 19th century. Men hunted together, men hiked together, men gathered together, men went to the bar together, men had conversations with other men, met.
True. I'm sorry because I'm gonna stop it, but Stanford study on friendship. Okay, ignore my typing. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to find it, but basically, this is not. What the hell? No. What is this? There's a study, and I thought it was from Stanford, but it appears not to be, that if you meet your friends 2 or 3 times a week, it greatly enhances men's happiness. And it's by a high number. Males need to see friends. Let's see if I can find it. Who is the study by? The study led by psychologist Robin Dunbar highlights that these social gatherings are more than just for fun. They are crucial for male bonding and overall well-being. Okay, it's not very in detail. Anyways, and what I'm trying to say is, it helps me a lot too. And one thing that I really value now is I started doing jiu-jitsu. And it's mostly men. And I do it 3 times a week, sometimes 4. And the good thing about it is not only that I get to do sport and improve my health, but also like there's a social circle, which is so important. To be able to have a community, to be able to talk about things, and just like even see that other people also have like shit going on, to feel part of something, like our belonging, is what kind of helps us to feel secure, to feel happiness, to find an understanding, to find community. Is so important, and for me, jiu-jitsu's done it. But I mean, it can be the same with any sport, I guess, as long as you get on with the people there. Because often now, I feel like once you finish school and university, you move on, and if you're moving countries, or even if you're in the same home, or if your friends have moved, it's going to be difficult to meet new people unless you join some kind of social activity. What I mean by that is, like, at work you could meet someone, but it's not always the same vibe. And you work from 9 to 5 generally. If you go to a gym, you don't usually interact with that many people unless you're very sociable. So I think, for men especially, joining some form of, I mean, I think I'm sure it has positive effects on women too. So joining some form of community, whether it's a run club, wink wink, or like a jiu-jitsu or a sport, or it could be like something artistic. It could be like dancing classes. It's so beneficial. Like, so beneficial. Not only like just mentally and physically, but like, I don't know, like at soul level.
So there is nothing inherent about men that sets them up for more loneliness and isolation. That is really important to understand. Boys till the age of 4 and then till the age of 7 are highly emotional. They can articulate. So these are cultural phenomena. These are social developments. This is not biological. This is not intrinsic to men.
One shift that's taken place, which I'm keen to get your perspective on, relates to sex. 1 in 3 men under 30 in the US reported no sex in the past.
Wait, she's basically saying children are emotional, men, boys, and they're communicative. And the only reason that is lost is because of a cultural effect. Which is kind of sad, because it basically means we're doing it to ourselves. Roll calm, brother.
One shift that's taken place, which I'm keen to get your perspective on, relates to sex. 1 in 3 men under 30 in the US reported no sex in the past year. That's triple the rate from 2008. Millennials and Gen Zs are having less sex than any generation since records began, despite more access to the dating apps we talked about.
Yeah.
Generation. People of my generation. I'm speaking to you right now. We need to change these statistics. We need to make a change. We need to get our what do you call them? Our protection, all the condoms, everything, and just go and change those numbers, make it up, make it go up, and make it the most sex in the generations. We need to change that. Everyone band together.
In Japan, over 40% of young adults are virgins, and many say that they have no interest in sex.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, married couples in the UK and the United States report a steady decline in sexual frequency since the early 2000s.
Yeah. I wrote about that in Mating in Captivity that came out in 2006. That's 20 years ago. Yes, because in order to have sex with a female partner, if that's the man you're talking about, you need to be able to approach her. And so social atrophy is directly connected to what is often called a sexual recession. I mean, in Mating 20 years ago, I have an entire chapter with someone.
People are basically scared to simp.
And basically says to me, I'd rather have the security of an MBA than of a relationship. Okay, and at that point already you began to see that adolescents in the United States, it's not everywhere in the world, but certainly in the US, and were more and more going in groups and having less and less pair bonding and less romantic relationships that accompany you through your adolescence, that develop with you, and you basically develop sex as part of a plot and not as something that at some point your hormones force you to do. But a relationship is a story. And then suddenly you arrive at a certain age and now you're looking at this other person with whom you want to have sex, and it's like this unknown continent that you have to conquer. But you've never spoken with those people. You have very little female friends who are just friends, who help you understand what happens with your girlfriend. You know, there's an entire social map that has dissipated. So the sex is the last thing on the list of all these disconnects that then, of course, lead you to have this kind of statistic. Then that...
Okay, so I think we can't just go have sex. Apparently we have to work on our friendships and on building relationships. Fuck. No, I'm joking. I mean, that seems good to me. I feel like a good friendship is always like so fulfilling. Like having a good friend that you can talk to like about anything, and you just support each other. Like having these depth of connections, like whether they're friends, relationships, I think they're so nice. They're so satisfying.
Means with partners, they have plenty of sex, maybe with themselves and others, but it's partnered sex here that is involved, right? They have sex on porn. They have sex. They don't have partner sex, you know. Do you understand when I say to you, you can add that to your statistics too, that the majority of men who come to sex therapy.
Although erectile dysfunction is traditionally associated with older men, sex therapists report that a majority of their erectile dysfunction clients today are in their 20s and 30s. Fuck. Psychological causes such as performance anxiety, low self-esteem, or porn overconsumption are more common than than physical issues. Oh, okay, so psychological causes are more common than physical issues. Anxiety, low self-esteem, and porn overconsumption. Fuck, I've been there. No more for me. I've been there as well. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not adding to this data because I haven't going to a sex therapist, but yeah, I get it.
Therapy today for erectile dysfunctions are young men in their 20s, not old men after prostate issues.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because they spend an enormous amount of time with themselves.
Watching porn and masturbating?
Yes. Because in order to be able to maintain erections with a partner, it's an attunement, right? It's a resonance. It's grooving together. But if you've always just been by yourself, then you only know how to kind of be connected to your own physiological responses.
I've worried about this before. I've worried that if I watch pornography, that I will like desensitize myself to the real thing.
Depends how much. Depends if what else is in your life. I mean, it's not an all or nothing thing. But what I'm saying is social atrophy, the gradual disconnect of the multiple touch points between people leads to then the challenges that are also sexual, leads to the kind of social isolation, leads to people confusing friends and friendships, so they can have 1,000 virtual friends but no one to feed their cat. You know, it.
Dude, come on. The cat's gotta eat. If any of you guys need someone to feed your cat, I'm your friend. I'm your friend for that.
It's all para.
No one to feed their cat.
Yeah, who would pick up a prescription at the pharmacy? Who may pick me up at the airport? Who will go check on someone I care about if I happen to not be there? Yes, who shows up for me? Because it's foundational to trust. Who can I lean on? Do you have my back? Can I rely on you?
So do you think the partnered sex is in decline because they're still having sex, but they're doing it on their own now with in
Partnered
various
sex
ways?
is in decline because social connection is in decline. Because people have less friends. Because the statistics on who you call to when you are in trouble are really terrible. People have no one to confide in.
So how does that impact my sex with my partner?
Well, you won't have a partner usually. What this statistic says is that there is no partner. Young men between the age of 30 don't have sex with partners.
This one here from the British Medical Journal says that married couples in the UK and US report a steady decline in sexual frequency.
Yes.
Since basically the internet.
Yeah, so here's how this works. How much time do you spend in front of a screen during the day?
9 hours.
All right. And then you sometimes think...
Too much. Let me end the stream. I'm joking.
Now I'm going to go home and I finally can close the screens.
Yeah.
But then you're so tired that all you can do is watch TV.
Yeah.
And then while you watch TV, you're also scrolling on your phone.
Yeah.
And then while you're watching TV and scrolling on your phone, there may be somebody sitting next to you that...
I hope all of you guys are like, babe, I'm too tired. I don't want to have sex. I'm just going to go. I'm going to watch Hugo's YouTube videos. I want to relax. I want to actually have fun. I'm joking. You should be spending time with your partner.
does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
All right. And then somebody may even say something to the other person who goes, uh-huh.
Doesn't look at them.
Uh-huh. Very interesting. And you really wonder why people are having less sex?
Why is he laughing like that? Okay, so that's the end of the first video. The second part is going to be uploaded in about 3 days. Okay, so don't get too impatient. And I want to say, if this video right here gets 70 likes, okay, 70 likes, I'm going to be making a new video in which I try try and flirt in like dating apps. And you can watch me. I'm not sure how good I'll be, but if you hit 70 likes, I'll make that video. It can be fun.